Hey everybody, welcome back. This is HD, and oh my god, it's time. This is the last semifinal series before the grand finals of the HD World Tournament. That means that after this series, we are going to move right on into the third place in the grand finals matchup, and I'm super excited to let you guys know that with 100% certainty, it will not be a Zerg versus Zerg Grand Finals or a Zerg versus Zerg third place, because as you guys all know, Sen lost in the last semifinal series that I just broadcasted against Straylock, which means that the Grand Finals is going to be between Straylock, a Terran player, either against the winner of this series. It could be Socke, a Protoss, or it could be Dimaga, a Zerg. Either way, I would be super excited, and of course, in the third place matchup, it will be a Zerg versus, I guess it could be a Zerg versus Zerg, or it could be a Zerg versus Protoss. But either ways, the Grand Finals, it is definitely secured that it will assuredly will not be a mirror matchup, and I know you guys are all excited about that. Mirror matchups can be kind of repetitive and kind of boring and lame, but we all now know that it will not be the case. And let's go ahead and get to this game at hand. It is once again going to be Dimaga versus Socke, and wow, this is going to be an electrifying Protoss versus Zerg series. First map, as always, going to be Icy Cup test bug for the round of 4, aka semifinals. And one thing I do want to note is Dimaga and Socke have both accomplished some incredible feats to get this far. Dimaga defeating the likes of QXC, and I believe that was in the round of 16, and Socke also defeating, I believe, Hydra. So Socke already has kind of the resume. He's already got the little note there that says, yes, I can defeat one of the best Zergs in the world. And Dimaga, I do not fear you. I can beat Hydra. I know I can beat you. And Dimaga, you know, he's also a very, very good Zerg. Of course, he loves to play the macro style, very much opposite of Sen, the aggressor. Dimaga more of like the big ultra macro. In fact, I've rarely, if ever, seen Dimaga go for any kind of an early cheese attack or early, you know, Baneling bust or Roach bust. It almost always is some kind of a late game strategy. Dimaga here does have the 100 gas, immediately going right into metabolic boost. Pretty standard. Gonna be opening up with the gas first and the early Zerglings, and that'll allow him to get rid of this pesky probe. And every Protoss player, man, they just love to do this. They love to kind of patrol the probe back and forth, kind of taunting the Zerg player a little bit. And of course, what does this do? It makes it impossible to get the hatchery down, and it forces a Zerg player to open up with earlier Zerglings rather than getting a 14 hatch. Looks like he is going to get that probe. Oh, it's just going to barely eke out of there. Speed is not going to finish in time. Oh, wow, the Zerglings actually do get the probe. So that probe almost had he had a glimmer of hope as he was running away. He's like, almost got away, but then he got attacked, so kind of sucks. But back at Socke's main here, he is pretty much Zergling proof. Interesting little wall off using the Pylon and a Zealot Pylon just to doubly make sure that nothing can run in, I suppose. And that is going to provide redundant power for the Cybernetics core and the Gateway. Meanwhile, Drone is just doing the merry-go-round inside the Protoss main. Stalker will probably be able to pick it off. Yes, it will. The Drone is not going to be able to get anywhere out of there. And with that, we'll see what Socke decides to throw down. Is it going to be a Stargate? Is it going to be more Gateways? It is going to be a Stargate coming up right here for Socke. I thought for a second that was a Pylon, but that is a big circle. You guys have ever seen this? I saw this YouTube video one time about there's this little girl, and the dad was commentating, and the little girl was like, the dad was asking the little girl, what is that? And she was like, it's a circle. So it's a big circle. It is going to be a Stargate, and Socke here is, whoa, he's throwing up a gateway at the front of his ramp as well. Very interesting. Perhaps this is to kind of lure Dimaga into thinking it's some kind of a gate fast expand. Dimaga right now doesn't have scouting vision of that yet. You guys just saw he clicked the pylon. Now the Stalker is actually going to push the Overlord away above this ledge. So Dimaga right now really doesn't know what's going on. Nevertheless, he doesn't even know that a Void Ray is coming out. And this Void Ray could potentially do some damage to Dimaga. He doesn't really have much anti-air, and he's going for a Roach Warren here. So he could be in a lot of trouble. Obviously, Roaches do not hit the air. Zergling runs in there with the speed. It sees the Nexus and the Gateway, and almost everything telling Dimaga right now that it is a 3-gate fast expand. And I would almost expect Dimaga to just start pumping mass drones. We can see 4 drones on the way. Let's pull that income tab, 33 over 27 right now. And Dimaga's also throwing up just a couple spine crawlers for safety's sake. but he really doesn't have anything to deal with the Void Ray, and the Void Ray has just now revealed itself onto that Overlord. The Overlord is running for it. It's gonna get taken out. Ooh, not even its remains are able to land on the platforms. It just went out into outer space. So that sucks. Doesn't even get a proper burial. If Overlords do get burials in the hierarchy of the Zerg Swarm. But anyways, here comes the Void Ray. It's already revealed itself, and Socke actually gonna take a detour. It looks like this Void Ray just gonna be used to pick off Overlords. Will not be committing that into attacking the mineral lines or for picking off queens. And really, with that kind of little detour the Void Ray took, it's too late now, because Dimaga most likely has a ton of queens coming up, getting the lair at the natural, interestingly. And yeah, he's got 3 queens, so he should be just fine. The Void Ray actually going to come in here and picks off a creep tumor at the front, just to further make it more difficult for Dimaga to spread out his creep. The 2 queens will repel that Void Ray. And you guys also saw that Dimaga was trying to take out these rocks. These rocks are really important right now for the Zerg to hold on to, or at least to destroy, so he can hold on to the Xel'Naga Watchtower. That way he gets a lot of vision outside of his natural. But with the Void Ray just kind of moving around the map, that is going to pretty much box Dimaga in. He's not going to have any scouting because his Overlords are going to be all clumped up inside his main and his natural. He's not going to have any Zerglings around the map because of the Void Ray really just flying around. And it's going to keep Dimaga contained until he can start to spread this creep out. And I'm surprised that Socke isn't being a little more aggressive with this Void Ray. It really seems like he's just playing super conservative. Meanwhile, back at his main, oh wow, he's got a ton of Void Rays. That is why he's been playing conservative. I thought he was falling back into a macro game, but no, he's been building Void Rays this entire time, and he is gonna commit to almost what seems to be an all-in attack here. He really doesn't have any look at this, guys. He's got 28 probes, so he has not been producing probes this whole time. This Nexus really has been there. It hasn't really been doing much at all. And it's kind of been a decoy for Dimaga to think that it's been a macro game, but it is not. Socke is coming in here with the force. And the Void Rays here, I gotta say, I don't know if Dimaga's got enough to deal with this. 2 force fields locking that queen out of the natural, and that's gonna further reduce the anti-air Dimaga has to deal with these Void Rays. 2 of them fully charged, giving chase to the queens. The queens have nowhere to go, and they're just running for it. Dimaga's trying to buy time for more queens to come out, but he's gonna lose almost every single unit. Thankfully, he's got a Spore Crawler here, but you know, against 4 Void Rays, I think these Void Rays could easily power down the Spore Crawler. Not to mention, they could just take out the hatchery if they want. Socke, though, not going to commit. He is actually going to whittle down the Spine Crawler front defenses, and I think he's just gearing up for a big attack with his ground forces and just really using these Void Rays to whittle down the defenses, take down all these units that cannot hit the air, and this is bad news for Dimaga, and that force field right there has got to seal the deal. I did not see Dimaga coming out of this in any way, shape, or form. 1 Spine Crawler in the back, not going to be able to do much at all, and a second force field just for security's sake. Couple roaches burrowing, doing a little burrow-unburrow magic here, and that can keep Dimaga in here, but, you know, even if he regenerates all the roaches' HP, when he comes out, the Void Ray's already there to fully charge down those roaches, and things are looking very bleak. Even the queen's burrowing now. 8 more roaches on the way. Can Dimaga hold on? It would certainly be a miracle. Socke here continuing to lay down the force fields, but of course these roaches can burrow and move underneath that force field. Dimaga is gonna lose everything, I've gotta feel. And remember, this is a best of 5 series. If Dimaga loses this, it's not over yet. Spine Crawler's still poking away, but you know, it looks like the majority of the ground forces have been taken out. All that Dimaga has to do now is deal with the air, and he may have a shot. Wow, he's gonna push away Socke. Socke's ground forces have been taken out. Dimaga trying to get rid of these Void Rays. He just doesn't have any anti-air though, building 2 more queens. Only 3 Void Rays remain. Meanwhile, the ground forces intercepting at right outside the Protoss Natural. Actually, this is the area right between the 2 mains, and an action-packed game right here. Ladies and gentlemen, the lair is gonna go down, and that is the danger of putting the lair at the front door. So vulnerable to a Protoss attack like that. With the lair going down now, Dimaga has been pretty much set back into stage 1 technology. He's gonna have to rebuild his lair. Thankfully, he does have a Hydralisk Den, so I do believe he can build Hydras because he does have the Hydralisk Den out. But he will not be able to get a Spire, he will not be able to get Infestation Pit until he gets a new lair. He is going to push out with his ground forces here, and I like this strategy. If you know that you cannot win a long-term game now, do something with your roaches, and that's exactly what he's going to do. And with proper burrow micro, he may be able to push Socke here, burrowing the roaches that are weakened so they can regenerate. No observer in range here. A cannon trying to go up. The cannon gets taken out, and now Socke has no way to detect these burrow roaches. And if Dimaga is good on his burrow, he should be able to keep those roaches alive. Yes, he does. And this is potentially the comeback window that Dimaga can exploit to get right back into this game. There is another cannon coming up though, and Dimaga's gonna have to take out this cannon in the back, or he's gonna have no chance, and he's gonna go straight for the cannon. The cannon is about to warp in. No, yeah, he's gonna have to fall back because there's another cannon up here actually, and Dimaga falling back. And I can't help but think that Socke came out ahead in that exchange, very far ahead with killing the lair, reducing mining. We can see the probes for Socke. During that attack, he was probing up very hard. He's got a much stronger economy right now. Dimaga frantically trying to rebuild his hatchery. He does have some hydras out, yes, so he does have hydras, and hydras are pretty darn good against void rays and gateway units. So I think what Dimaga's strategy here should be is to either make an all-in attack, and it's funny I say that because, you know, before I was saying Dimaga isn't really the type to go all-in, but when you're this far behind, I feel like he should go all-in with hydras, do some kind of a mass hydra bust, or go for a double expand. Really, that's his only options right now. I don't know if double expand is viable, though, just simply because there's so many void rays just flying around, and any hatchery that tries to go up is just gonna fall down in mere seconds. So I feel like a Hydra Bust right now would be the right strategy, and I think Dimaga and me might have the same mindset here. He is gonna kill the rocks first. Hey, actually, this might not be a bad idea because this is right on the creep. The Hydra is obviously very slow without creep, but very fast on creep. They can defend against Void Rays if he decides to expand right here. It looks like Dimaga is actually going to push out, though, with his Hydras. He just finished +1/+1, and these Hydras have become a huge force to reckon with. Socke, of course, has no Colossus out. He doesn't even have a robotic support, but yet just starting to get it down right now. And without robotic support, without any type of unit to successfully deal with Hydralisks, I think Dimaga's got a real shot here at busting down the Protoss front door. He needs to do it now, though. He's really hesitating. And I guess he's just waiting for more Hydras. Yeah, he's got 4 more on the way. Just now finishing up. Dimaga obviously not even bothering to build a single drone. He's been at 24 ever since he lost his lair. He has not decided to reconstruct any of his drones whatsoever. If we look at the units lost tab, something I don't bring up too much, and I've been listening to the comments, of course, this is the units lost situation right now. Dimaga obviously reeling. He's about 1,200 more minerals lost than the Protoss player. And what other tabs do I never look at? Spending. That's an interesting little tab there. We have the Zerg player spending a lot more in economy, but that doesn't really matter because he's lost his lair, so he's got to rebuild all of that. Ooh, it looks like a pylon just got picked off right there. And yeah, I think that Dimaga is just gearing up for Hydra push. I don't know. No. He's spread his creep pretty far here, and he's actually got Spinecrawlers at the front, so it looks like Dimaga is going to try to go into the mid-late game with this strategy. He's not going to commit. He's getting a hatchery here right now. He's actually got some roaches just kind of walking around the map to pick off pylons wherever you can, and that's smart, of course. But I don't think he's going to commit to an attack. He is actually planning to go into the mid-game, and I think he should be building drones. Yeah, he's got 31 now, so he has been building more drones. And he's been droning up pretty successfully, but he is still behind, I feel. Socke, though, has not decided to go for a third. So if Dimaga can hold on to this gold, then Dimaga has a real shot here, but he needs to hold on. Socke is actually not going to attack. He doesn't even know that the hatchery is going up. Oh, and Hydra's ready there to intercept those Void Rays. Smart by Dimaga, just leaving some Hydras in the main. He knows Void Rays are a real threat. Leaving Hydras in the front as well. These Void Rays! One of them going down. No upgrades on these Void Rays, keep in mind. Hydra's about to get +2/+2, which is going to make them oh so dangerous. And uh-oh. Is it possible that Socke is going to lose this game? He does have Colossus coming out right now, along with +1 weapons, finally getting some weapon upgrades of his own. But he does have some Colossus coming out, and that is exactly the unit he needs right now. The more Colossus, the better. Dimaga, interestingly, not getting a Spire. He is actually gonna just stick with pure Roach Hydra. Don't blame him there. He really doesn't have the gas to fund Mutalisks after all going for this many Hydralisks. This is like a classic game of StarCraft Brood War. For all you guys who are Brood War maniacs like I am, you guys all know that Hydralisks were one of the bare bone units and really the backbone of the Zerg army versus Protoss, at least until Storm came out. And Hydra's really falling out of favor with the Colossus being such a good counter unit to it. But the way this game has went, Dimaga was forced to go into Hydras. Really aren't that many Colossus on the ground right now, and I feel like if Dimaga can make an attack happen now rather than later, he's got a great shot to whittle down these Colossus numbers and keep them low. That's exactly what he wants to do. He doesn't want to allow this Colossus number to become unmanageable, and he's waiting for roaches. He's waiting for 8 more before he attacks. That's a smart idea. He needs some units to tank that Colossus heavy firepower. Note both players' army tabs, 140 apiece. That will favor, I believe, the Protoss army just a little bit in that exchange. Here we go! Force fields getting laid down. No Zerg units streaming from this location up here, which was a little interesting. I feel like Dimaga could have pincered in the Protoss army, but here we go. Force fields getting laid down. The Zerg does have creep, but the force fields are going to keep the Hydralisks at bay, and this could be it for Dimaga. Oh no, he's just going to lose his entire Hydra army. Socke keeping the Colossus alive. Look at that one. That guy has 2 hit points. Talk about a miracle for that Colossus. That was a super close call, and the guy who's driving that thing has got to be, he's got to be sweating balls right now, but it looks like Dimaga is going to lose his hatchery, and with that, I think his hope of winning this game is going to basically get flushed down the toilet. Very nice play by Socke. Brilliant play, and he's even pulling probes off the line right now. He feels like he's just going to end this game with probes as well. I mean, why not? He hasn't gone for a 3rd Nexus, and he's probably got a ton of probes back that are just not doing anything, and in fact, yeah, oversaturated, got too many probes. Might as well pull him off the mineral line and go for the gusto here. Dimaga, GG's out. That is game 1, and that was an intense matchup, just showing the skill level that is involved in this series of games in the HD World Tournament. Some of the top players in the world. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these other tabs that I just never look at for whatever reason. I guess most of them are kind of redundant, but yeah, well played by Socke. Almost pulling out a comeback victory by Dimaga with those burrowed roaches at this mineral line. I feel like he had a good shot, but and then when he had the Hydralisks, I feel like if he had pushed out with that big number of Hydras before the Colossus came out, I really think he would have had a great chance at countering the Protoss army. But of course, Socke sitting on his massive probe count after killing off the lair. All he had to do was just macro and hold off any attacks, and eventually it would come out with a much bigger army. So really well played by both players, and we're going to move on to game number 2. Stay tuned, guys. HD signing out.